Hi guys, Ursa Dia here, and I'm back with another anime episode. For today on AniMay, I am going to be listing 10 of my favorite Seiyuus, and for those who don't know, Seiyuus is just the Japanese voice actors, and these ones are going to be my top 10 favorite male Seiyuus. And this is because I actually don't really know a lot about female Seiyuus. I tend to watch a lot of Seiyu events, and most of the Seiyu events that I end up watching are either for like otome animes, idol animes, or like shonen animes, most of which are like heavily male dominated in terms of like voice actors. So I'm not very familiar with female voice actors, but I am very familiar with male voice actors, and these are 10 of my favorite. I actually wanted to do more, but when I recorded it with my top 15, it ended up being like almost an hour long. So I cut it down to 10, so hopefully it'll be a bit shorter, but it should still be just as fun. So let's get into it. So I don't have them in order of like my actual like favorite to least favorite, but my top two favorites are actually the first two. And so my number one favorite Seiyu probably isn't going to be a surprise if you guys have like watched my channel for a long time, because I've talked about him a long time. But that is Ioishota. He is my absolute favorite Seiyu. He's known for roles such as Mikaze Ai from Utapri, Kanzaki Mio from Kono Oto Tomare, which I've talked about a bit throughout my anime series, and Gerald Stort from Hamefura. He is my favorite Seiyu. I actually discovered him through watching the Utapri Maji Love 4th Stage Live concert event. Before I watched that, I like technically had heard his voice because I had watched all of Utapri that had been released up until that stage, but I hadn't actually paid attention to like who voiced him or anything. And so when I watched him in the concert, I actually fell in love with him. I thought he was like the cutest, sweetest like being ever. And so that's kind of like what got me into him, and then since then I've been like a hardcore fan of his, and I just absolutely love him. And it's really like inspiring like how he got into being a voice actor. He actually used to be made fun of a lot for his voice because he has a very feminine sounding voice, and he even actually has feminine facial features. He actually voices a lot of girls, but in stage plays and stage musicals, he actually sometimes cross dresses as a girl and plays like female lead characters, such as his role in Smile Mermaid and Prince Kaguya. He even cross dressed as like the female version of himself in the Bad End music video that he did. Bad End is the ending song for Hamefura Season 1. So he cross-dresses a lot because he has a lot of feminine features as well as a feminine sounding voice. So it's a way for him to get more roles. But as a kid, he used to be made fun of for it, and his inspiration in the Seiyu business was actually the original voice of Fisheye from Sailor Moon. And that was because he discovered that Fisheye was actually voiced by a boy, despite it sounding like a girl. And so he was like, well, if that voice actor can do it, maybe I can do it. And so that is what inspired him. And with the reboot of Sailor Moon, he actually got the chance to not only audition, but he actually landed the role of Fisheye in the Sailor Moon reboot. So I was super proud of him for that, because he actually got the chance to voice his dream role, which like is how he got into the Seiyu business in the first place. So I absolutely am like so proud of him. Like, I love this man to death. He's 12 years older than me. He doesn't look it. Sometimes when I'm like looking through his pictures, I feel like I'm like being like illegal or something, because he looks so young that sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, he looks like he's 16 years old, like but he's actually 33, which I find amazing. But I love him. He's honestly just like the sweetest and cutest thing. Next up, my second favorite Seiyuu is Shimonohiro. I love him. He's actually really well known. He's probably one that you guys will really recognize the characters. He voices Kurususho from Utapri, Connie Springer from Shingeki no Kyojin, Dabi from Boku no Hero Academia, Zenitsu from Demon Slayer. So, like, you guys have probably heard him, given that 3 of the 4 characters I just listed are very popular, well-known characters within 3 of the top shonen series within just the past year alone. So you guys have definitely heard his voice. But I love him. He's my second favorite Seiyuu because he actually voices a lot of my favorite Otome characters, but also he is literally just one of the funniest people on the planet to me. Like, he is just so hilarious. He has a great sense of humor, and he has a very infectious laugh. I'm the type of person who I love hearing people's laughs, and if you have a good laugh, like, I 100% will laugh just because you are laughing. And I love when people have that effect on me. And he has just one of the best laughs ever. Like, when I'm sad, I will watch, like, compilation videos of him just laughing, because it always makes me smile and laugh. And, like, because of that, like, I don't get, like, how he's not married. Like, he's known as being kind of like the virgin Seiyuu because he's 41 years old, and he doesn't look it. But he's 41 years old, and he, like, doesn't have a girlfriend. He, like, doesn't date. And he's just, like, the funniest person. Like, he's one of the sweetest people ever, but he's so hilarious. I'm like, how are you not married, dude? Like, I would marry him. I'm 20 years younger than him, and I would marry him in a heartbeat. Like, no joke, no cap. Like, I would say the same about Ioishota, but I feel like I wouldn't match well with Ioishota despite how much I love him. But, like, Shimonohiro, like, 100%, like, if he got down on one knee right now, I'd 100% say yes. Like, 100%. Like, I love him so much. He is so freaking funny. And he's actually, like, able to, like, show off, like, how funny he is in, like, Seiyuu events and stuff. But he's just such a great person. In Seiyuu events, he's often forced to create and improvise songs. And that's always, like, one of my favorite things. It's one of the ways that he can show that he has a great sense of humor, but also kind of, like, show off his talents and stuff. And he literally, like, off the top of my head, there are, like, 3 different Seiyuu events that I know that he's had to improvise songs for. So it's not, like, once or twice. Like, he does it so often. Normally it's Miyano Mamoru's fault, but sometimes it's other Seiyu's faults. But it's, like, really funny when he does it. Shimono's also very special in the Seiyuu community, and I guess just, like, in Japan in general, I would say, for having been voted the best karagenist by the Japan Karage Association 6 times in a row. For those who don't know, karage is essentially like Japanese fried chicken. It's often sold in konbinis. I actually have, like, a little plushie of Karage-kun, which is the brand of karage that Lawson's sells. Lawson's is my favorite konbini in Japan. But he loves karage so much that there are videos of him where they will blindfold him and have him taste, like, 1 centimeter cut pieces of karage from different konbinis, and he can tell you exactly where it came from and what flavor it is. And because of that, he ended up being voted the best karagenist 6 times in a row by the Japan Karage Association. And that is something that I just find astounding, but I also, like, actually really love. Like, my dream date is literally just to go to a konbini, like, specifically probably Lawson's, because I'm biased, but literally just go to konbini and buy karage and just eat it with him. I think that would be, like, the best date ever. But yeah, that's Shimonohiro. I feel like I talked about Shimono, like, more than I talked about Shotan, but that's just because, like, Shimono just, like, he's really funny. I love him. And then moving on, we actually are going to talk about Shimono's best friend, and that is Kanjiyuki. He's another one that, like, if you've heard Shimono's voice, you've definitely heard Kanjiyuki's. Probably more so than you've heard Shimono's, and that's because he voices Eren Yeager from Shingeki no Kyojin, Todoroki Shoto from Boku no Hero Academia, Leon Vastia from Fairy Tail, and so many more. He's so talented. I honestly think that he's probably one of the best seiyus in the industry currently. Granted, like, that's just my opinion, but, like, he gets a lot of lead roles, and he's really good at those lead roles. So I definitely think that he's probably one of the best in the industry as of now. And like I said, he's best friends with Shimono. Like, he is so, like, they have, like, such a great chemistry, and they're always hanging out. They often do, like, seiyu events or, like, special showings where it's just, like, the two of them. Like, they took a trip to America, and that was, I didn't get to watch the full thing, but I watched a clip of it where they ended up ordering, like, these giant ass, like, margaritas in Texas, and Shimono got very drunk. But they end up hanging out a lot, and that's just, like, really, really fun. They were actually, at least, I don't know if that's still the case, but before Kaji got married, Kaji and Shimono were actually, like, dubbed, like, the most shipped seiyus because they have such a great chemistry. Like, all of their female fans and stuff ship them together. I don't know if that's the case because, like, 2 years ago, I think 2019, Kaji got married. So I don't know if that's still the case anymore, but it was really funny. Like, the two even run, like, a radio show together, which is hilarious. Like, you can find, like, dubbed clips of it online, or not dubbed, subbed clips of it online, so definitely, like, go check them out, because some of them are, like, really funny. Next on the list is Suzuki Tatsuhisa, and he voices Tachibana Makoto from Free Iwatobi Swim Club, Kurosaki Ranmaru from Utapri, and Ban from Seven Deadly Sins. What's really cool about Suzuki is that he actually is the lead singer of the Japanese rock band Old Codex, and if you've watched, like, Free or Survamp or a couple other animes, like, you've definitely heard Old Codex because they did the opening songs for them. They've also done a couple ending songs. I believe they did 1 or 2 for Kuroko's Basketball. But he's really good, and honestly, like, if you like rock or you like, kind of like heavy metal, I would say, like, go check out Old Codex. They have some really, really good songs that aren't anime openings. Like, I love them. It's one of my favorite things to do is on, like, a sunny day, if I'm driving in my car, like, opening my sunroof and blasting Old Codex. It's so much fun. But definitely, like, go check out their music because it's really, really good. Also, not only does he do anime songs, but he's actually married to Lisa, who is a very, very popular anime-song, like, performer. She does obviously have songs that aren't anime openings, but she is well known for her anime songs. And if you are wondering who Lisa is or what she sings the openings for Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online, The Regular at Magical High School, I think is the name of the show, Daybreak Illusion, which I mentioned in my last anime video. So she's sung a lot of anime openings and a lot of really well-known ones. Like, if you've heard Crossing Field or Gurenge, like, you've definitely heard her before. I actually really love her. She makes some really good music, so, like, definitely check her out too. But yeah, they are married. And I actually love that because I was shipping them together way before I found out that they were even together. So when I found out they got married, I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that's a little fun fact about him. Moving on, we have Suabe Junichi. He voices Jinguji Ren from Utapri, Undertaker from Kurosetsuji, Ryomen Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, as well as a couple other very deep voice characters. And that is kind of what he's known for, is he has a very deep and smexy voice. And because of that, he actually voices a lot of like flirty characters like Jinguji Ren or Kaname from Brothers Conflict. And I actually hate flirty characters, and I feel bad because I actually hate a lot of the characters that he voice acts, just for their personality, but I love his voice in like all of the roles. Like, he has just such a deep and like sexy voice, that it shows through well in his character castings. I especially love his voice in Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, I didn't actually realize it was him at first, and then once I realized it, I was just like, ooh. And I was actually really surprised when I made this list. I found out that he was the oldest on the list, and I was actually really surprised because there's somebody else who I'm going to be going over who I actually thought was the oldest on the list. But apparently he's almost 50 years old. He's 49 currently, and I did not realize that. I thought he was like in his 40s, but I thought he was like more mid 40s. So I was really surprised to find that out. Next up is Toyanaga Toshiyuki, and he voices my anime husband, so I had to put him on this list. He also voices a couple of really well-known characters, such as Katsuki Yuri from Yuri on Ice and Nagachika Hideyoshi from Tokyo Ghoul, but the main reason I put him on here is because he voices Totsuka Takeru from Kamigami no Asobi, who has been my anime husband for the past almost 7 years, maybe 8 at this point. So yeah, I'm like a hardcore like in love with Toyanaga's voice because he voices my anime husband. He also voices a couple other otome characters who I really like Mozart from Iki Vamp, and he voices Goshi, I believe is his name, from B Project. So I really love his voice. He does a really good tsundere voice, which is really surprising because he doesn't look like somebody who'd be able to pull off like a good tsundere voice. But he nailed it, and I love it. So I had to add him on the list. He's also a really funny person. He likes to joke around, and one Seiyu event, he forced Suzuki Tatsuhisa to actually have to sing the free opening of that season in Makoto's voice. He got payback and like had to end up singing himself, but it was really, really funny. So he's got a great sense of humor and is like definitely willing to like force his friends to do funny shit at like Seiyu events. So I really enjoy that. Next up is a Seiyu who I consider to be a god among Seiyus. That is a very bold statement, but I believe it to be very true, and that is Miyano Mamoru. He voices Ichinose Tokiya from Utapri, Matsuoka Rin from Free Iwatobi Swim Club, Dazai Osamu from Bungo Stray Dogs, Suo Tamaki from Oran High School Host Club, as well as a bunch of other characters. He is just amazing. He has great versatility in his voice. He is in basically anything and everything, honestly, and he's also like, he's just really good at what he does, and so that's why I consider him a god among seiyus, because he is, in my opinion, one of the best in the industry, if not the best in the industry currently. And that is like a very bold claim, but I do believe that is true. He's also an amazing singer. He does a lot of idol shows, obviously like Utapri and stuff, where he actually sings openings for the shows. as well as just, like, he does a couple ending songs. Like, he was the ending singer for Devil's Line and Inspector. He just also releases music on his own, and he is really, really good. Like, also really, like, go check out his music. He has such a good singing voice. It's honestly probably within my top 10 favorite singing voices, like, out of anything that I listen to, whether it's American pop, K-pop, J-pop, like, anything. Like, he has probably one of my favorite voices ever. So, like, definitely go check out his music. And if you want somebody funny to, like, stan, like, he is your man. He's literally hilarious chaos personified. Like, any Seiyu event that he is in, don't expect it to go as planned, because he will literally take things so off course, but in such a hilarious way. And that actually ends up being really good in some cases. He's the person who kind of ends up hosting things, at least for, like, concert events, kind of moving the show along, as well as, like, he breaks shyer seiyus out of their shell. Like, Ioishota for the Utapri stuff, like, Shotan's always a bit nervous at first and a bit shy, and Miyano comes in and just, like, picks on Shotan a lot. Actually, they all do, because they all see Shotan as, like, their cute younger brother. But he, like, hardcore, like, picks on Shotan, but it ends up making Shotan feel more relaxed and, like, more comfortable. So he's, like, really, like, good-natured in that fact that he kind of, like, helps his fellow seiyus feel more relaxed, but also making sure that, like, the audience has, like, a really good time. So definitely, like, go and check him out, because, like, he is literally, like, a god among seiyus. Next on this list is actually somebody who was only recently put on here, like, when I first made my top 15 that I then narrowed down to top 10. I actually almost didn't put him on here, because most of the other seiyus on this list, like, I know as, like, people. Like, not just their voice for their character, but, like, I've seen interviews with them, I've seen seiyu events with them, like, I've started to, like, learn what their personalities are. This seiyu is the only one who I don't really know what his personality is, and I solely added him just because of how much I like his voice and roles that he's played. And that is Uchida Yuma. He is actually I believe, the newest seiyu on this list, as well as the youngest. He's only 28 years old. Most of them are in their 30s or older. He voices Somakyo from the Fruits Basket reboot. He voices Minamoto Teru from Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun, Fushiguro Megumi from Jujutsu Kaisen, Otori Eiji from Utapri, who's honestly the only Heavens member, one of the only Heavens members that I can actually stand. So he has, like, a really good voice. I actually really love his voice as both Megumi and Teru, and honestly Kyo. Honestly, I love his voice in all of these roles, which is why I picked them out. He is actually, while he is, like, up and coming and new to the business in terms of, like, actually, like, being a voice actor, he kind of actually learned the ropes, because his older sister is Uchida Maya, who is a very popular female seiyu. She's actually one of, like, 3 female seiyus that I know. That's just how, like, good and popular she is, and so she's actually his older sister, so he kind of, like, got to, like, learn the ropes, and I think that's really helped him with becoming a successful voice actor, is that he has, like, his older sister to kind of guide him and help him through things. And so I literally just added him on this list because I really like his voice. But I'm excited to see where he goes in the future. Like I said, he's the youngest one on this list, the newest one on this list, so I'm really excited to see where he will go in the future. So best of luck to him. Next up is Onodaisuke. He is actually the one who I thought was the oldest, but isn't. He's only 43, which I was very surprised, because before I made this list, I thought he was well into his 50s. he's not, so apologies to him for that. But he is essentially who I consider a god among Seiyuus Part 2. And that is because he is somebody who you've definitely have also probably heard his voice. He voices Sebastian from Kurosetsuji, Hades Idoneus from Kamigami no Asobi, Erwin Smith from Shinjeki no Kyojin, and Shintaro Midorima from Kuroko's Basketball. If you guys know the English or the American voice actor J. Michael Tatum and the roles that he does in anime, J. Michael Tatum is literally just the American version of Onodaisuke. Like, literally, like, 3 or 4 of the roles that J. Michael Tatum has done in English were originally voiced by Onodaisuke. So he's pretty well known. I always joke that, like, J. Michael Tatum is the American Onodaisuke just because they always end up voicing the same characters. But yeah, I consider him a god among seiyus because he's literally in everything. He gets major roles. He has such a good voice. So I kind of put him as god among seiyus because I do believe that he is one of the best in the industry as well. So yeah, I had to add him on the list for that. And finally, we have our 10th and last favorite seiyu. He's not my 10th favorite seiyu, like I said, these aren't in order, the first 2 just ended up lining up. It's literally I have 2 favorite seiyus and then the rest are just ones that I really enjoy. They aren't in any order. Last but definitely not least is Terashima Takuma, and he voices Itoki Otoya from Utapri, Dantalion from Makai Oji, Devils and Realists, which is one of my favorite anime, Mahiro Shirota from Servamp, and Snake from Kurosetsuji Book of Circus. And he is what I consider like a sunshine boy. He just has such like a bubbly personality. I don't know if it's just some of the characters he voice acts, like Mahiro from Servamp or like Otoya from Utapri. Like both of them just have very like bubbly type characters. So I don't know if, like, it's just that or the fact that, like, whenever I do see him in a Seiyu event, he really just seems bubbly and so happy, and, like, especially when he's, like, at, like, an Utapri event, like, Otoya is known for being, like, really bubbly and happy, and I feel like Terashima just, like, encapsulates it so well. But, like, even in some of, like, his songs and stuff, because he does a couple of, like, anime songs as well as just releasing other songs, but I just feel like they're, like, all, like, upbeat and happy, or at least the ones that I heard have been, like, really happy and bubbly, so I've dubbed him kind of, like, my sunshine boy, because he just literally seems like sunshine to me. He's also very close friends with Shimono and Kaji, and they actually have a skit together where it's the 3 of them, and it is probably my favorite, like, Seiyu event clip ever. I've seen it so many times, and it's like Kaji Yukihime, I believe is the name of it. I'll try to, like, post, like, a link to it somewhere, maybe in, like, the description or something, because, like, you guys should check it out. It's literally so funny. It's the 3 of them essentially acting out a skit of Snow White, and they each play, like, different characters. Like, Terashima is the narrator and 3 dwarfs. Kaji is just Snow White, and they did it because it's a pun that in Japanese, Snow White is Shirayuki, and so it's like Shirayuki Hime, and because Kaji's first name is Yuki, they did, like, instead of Shirayuki Hime, it's Kaji Yuki Hime. So they made, like, a pun off his name, so he ends up playing Snow White, and then Shimono ends up playing the, like, evil queen / witch and the prince who ends up marrying Kanjiyuki Hime. So it ends up being really, really funny. The voices that they do are really great, and they even, like, actually act out some parts, so it's really, really funny. Like, highly recommend. It's one of my favorite things. I think it's, like, 8 minutes long, fully subbed. It's just really, really great. So please go check it out, because I guarantee it's super funny. Before I end this, I just want to shout out some other seiyus that I really enjoy but didn't fit into my top 10, but definitely are ones that I absolutely love and you guys should check out. Or if you guys want me to make a video where I talk about them a little bit, let me know in the comments below. But my other favorite seiyus that I'd like to give a shout out to are Maino Tomoaki, Ken, Taniyama Kisho, Shimazaki Nobunaga, Morikubo Shotaro, Eguchi Takiya, Kensho Ono, and Suzumura Kenichi. So those are some of my other favorite seiyus. There's actually some more that I also like, but I didn't actually put down on this list either. But these ones are some of my other faves, so definitely, like, go and check them out because they're also really, really great and funny people and very, very talented. So definitely, like, go and check them out. But yeah, that is it for today's episode. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have a favorite seiyu, male or female. Maybe, like, a fun fact about them. If you disagree or agree with anything that I said that might have been, like, controversial, like Miyano being a god among seiyus, let me know as well. I'd love to have, like, a discussion about it. But yeah, like, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please go and, like, support and, like, just give love to seiyus because a lot of the times, like, you just see their voices, like, most people don't actually appreciate that there's a person behind that voice, but there is, and these people are actually some of the funniest people you will probably ever see. So highly recommend going, checking them out, supporting them. A lot of them end up releasing their own music and stuff, and some of it's really, really good. So go check them out as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I release more anime videos or just other fun videos on my channel. AniMay will hopefully be coming out twice a week, every week for the month of May. So I hope you guys enjoy and look forward to those. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Love you. Bye.